It's May 13, 2020. I'm Todd Dunn, and today I'm aboard my 36-foot Allied Princess Ketch sequester. It's been pretty quiet here on Mount Desert Island with the stay-at-home order and everything, which is still in force, but I've been coming over here to work on the boat. I'm completely alone. There's nobody else here in the shed. There are people working in the yard, but they're not in here. So I'm well isolated from anybody, and basically been getting a little work done. I'm getting close to being finished for the season with preparation. I've painted the bottom. I've replaced 3 of the 5 batteries that were on the boat. They gave up right at the end of the season last year. I was kind of disappointed in the batteries. They're regular lead acid batteries, and they'd only been on the boat for 10 years. You'd think they'd make better quality these days, but no. So anyway, I have purchased all new batteries. 3 of them are installed now. I have 2 more right over here. I'll swing the camera around in a minute and we'll talk about them more. What remains to be done before launch day is I've got to varnish all the on-deck teak here, which is going to take an afternoon. Basically sand it down and put a coat of varnish on it, and we're done with it. And finish putting the batteries in, install a zinc on the prop shaft. I have it with me and I'll do that this afternoon. And the only other thing that I have to do is I have to go out to my mizzen mast and put a line up to the top of the mast and then back down, which I will use to haul my triadic stay up through a pulley on top of the mizzen and then pull it down and lash it off on a cleat at the base of the mast. And that really stiffens up the mizzen mast rig on this Allied 36, which has a pretty springy mizzen if you don't have a triadic. And my triadic is made out of Spectra, which is a very strong synthetic line, has about the same stretch as stainless steel, so but it's much lighter. So that will do a good job in replacing the stainless. I had it on there last year, and it was an incredible difference between having it and not having it. Okay, so that's pretty much where I am right now. Let's take a look at these batteries. I'll tell you what's going on with them. And then we'll take a look at my 1936 wooden powerboat Tortuga and what I have to do to it to get it ready to launch. Okay, here are the batteries. This boat has 5 Group 27 105 amp hour batteries on it. And as I said, they're just flooded lead acid batteries. And I got 10 years out of the last set. So these are better quality batteries than I had before. So I'm expecting that these may last 12 or even 14 years. And by that time I'll be in my middle 80s, and chances are I won't even own this boat anymore. So these, I hope, are the last batteries I'm going to put on the boat, because it is quite a chore to haul these 65-pound batteries up onto the boat. Well, it's on the hard like this. It's about a 12-foot rise from the ground up to the tow rail to get them on board. Fortunately, I was able to just haul them up using a winch. It would have been nice if I still had batteries on board, because those are electric winches, but these are the batteries that provide the power for the electric winches, so winches had to be run in manual mode. So anyway, I'm going to put the battery charger on the one that you can see it's hooked up to. It's not plugged in right now because my extension cord is plugged into the light I'm using, because it's pretty dark in here, too dark to film. And so once I finish this, I'll unplug the light and hook that battery charger up and leave it on there for the rest of the day, because as I said, these are brand new batteries and they usually arrive down just a little bit, and this one is at like 12.2 volts. I'd like to get it up to about 12.6. And I'll do the same to the other one once I get this one charged up. Okay, let's take a look at my 1936 wooden powerboat Tortuga and talk a little bit about what I have to do to get it ready to go in the water this year, because I will be launching both boats. Okay, before I move over to the Tortuga, show you what I have left to do here on the Sequester. I have the cockpit combings here. I have the cockpit combings here to sand down and varnish. The companionway boards and trim. And up there on the cabin top, the handrails. That's pretty much it. That and, as I mentioned earlier, replacing the shaft zinc. So that is about an afternoon of work to do that. The most time-consuming part will be masking around the handrails. Now, what about the Tortuga? Let's take a look there. Okay, here's the Tortuga. I'm standing on the Sequester, and there's not much to do up on top except to sand down all of the varnish and revarnish. And after I finish varnishing, I will paint the dark green trim around the cabin top and around the edge of the deck. Inside the boat, which you can see in there, I have to replace one of the valves in my fuel system because it is leaking a little bit, which is not good. Leaves the boat smelling of diesel, so I have to do that to clean that out. And everything else I have to do is on the hull. So let's get off of the sailboat and have a look at Tortuga's hull just to get a feel for what I have to do. Every year before I launch the boat, I go over the entire hull sounding the planking for spots that give a sort of dead sound when you rap on it. And when I find that, I then take a screwdriver and poke around and look for soft spots. And let me come in here and we'll show you a soft spot. Right there, you can see where this plank end is soft right at the transom. And what I've done is sanded off the paint for about 18 inches forward, and I will cut the plank end out and scarf a new piece of wood into there to get rid of the rot. Now, when I went over Tortuga's hull, I found a total of 11 spots like this where I have some work to do on the hull. So I'm going to be doing 11 plank repairs on Tortuga's hull this spring. Now here we are port side amidships, and you can see I've sanded off some paint there. I've got about a 3-foot piece of planking that I'm going to have to replace there. And then up forward, I've got 2 more spots where there are butt joints, where the planking is punky at the butt joints, and I've sanded off the paint to reveal where the fasteners are, and I'm going to be scarfing in new pieces of wood to eliminate those butt joints. Now let's take a look at the other side of the boat, the starboard side. I apologize for the oblique image here, but this is the starboard side. As you can see, I've removed 3 pieces of planking up here and part of a plank a little further forward. So I've got 4 pieces of new wood to put in on this side. I still have to remove a few fasteners and cut the scarfs in before I can put the new wood in. So this basically is what I have left to do to repair the hull. And obviously I'm further along on the starboard side than I am on port. Once I finish all the planking repairs, I'm going to sand the entire hull down. I'm going to paint the top sides, all the dark green trim, and the bottom. So I have quite a bit of work to do on here. If I worked at it full time, probably about 2.5 weeks. So I'm expecting the Tortuga will be ready to go in the water sometime in early June with all of the punky wood in the hull replaced with new Douglas fir, which I have at home. So we're coming along pretty well in terms of spring work. If we look at the Sequester here, you can see I have painted the bottom. Nice fresh bottom paint. So as I said, I've got to replace the shaft zinc, which is just forward of the propeller there on the propeller shaft. A little bit of barnacle to clean off the propeller. and do the varnishing on deck, and she's ready to go over. So in about 10 days, I expect this boat will be in the water. So that summarizes what needs to be done on the two boats. Altogether, I have, 3.5 weeks work, and the two boats will be ready to go in the water. Tortuga's completion may be delayed a little bit because once I get the sequester in the water and get the booms on, get the sails on, I am going to have to go sailing. I know, it's a hard thing to do, but somebody has to do it. Anyway, that's where I am on spring boat work and what remains to be done. I want to say thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content today in this short video, give me the old thumbs up. And if you haven't, please subscribe to my channel so that you can see how all of this work comes out and come along with me on some sailing trips.